In the penitentiary.
Hey, turn that shit down,
Turn it down, dog. L, dog. L.
Turn that shit
Turn it
down.
down.
Got it right there on the
Okay,
phone.
but we been pour water in the motherfucker and kick it up.
No, you wasn't. Get on with all three. You
Oh, you are?
pull up my bear spray. Pull up my bear spray.
Look.
Hey, some bear spray.
Hey, listen to this. Listen to this.
Haiti Films, Cappuccino in New York, back again with another special guest. He has a lot of history, and we're gonna get to the bottom of some of it. All right, special guest, just kind of tell us who you are and where were you born and raised.
Okay, my name is Elledge. My real get down, I'm Elledge Randolph Pendleton III. I was born and raised Los Angeles, California. I was born right here on 4th Avenue of 54th, where I was conceived, I guess. And it started right there, and from there, I can't remember nothing but when I can start at Gramercy. We lived on Gramercy. Actually, I remember locked in a mobile home, sweating and stuff like that when I was a little kid. That was just the first memory of something I can say that I can remember. I really remember that was in Gramercy. And after that, it's Hyde Park and 10th Avenue. Up in a tree, picking some apricots out our tree, and the branch broke. And me and my brother fell to the ground. And that's right across from Hyde Park Elementary. I was at preschool. I didn't go to, then from there, we lived on Bryanhurst, right up the street. And we was there for, I could say, until I was really young, maybe a year or whatever. You know, and that's when I started going to Chinella Park, swimming.
Okay, before we get there, when you stayed on 10th Avenue Hyde Park, what years was this, if you can remember?
10th Avenue Hyde Park, I might have been like, man, 5 and 6.
If you don't mind me asking, what year were you born?
1961, June 6.
So you were on 10th Avenue Hyde Park in the 1960s.
Yep.
And then you said you went to Bryanhurst after that?
Yep.
Okay, what year was you remember you been on Bryanhurst?
I don't even know the years because I was too young to think about the years, you know what I mean? But
Right.
I was a little kid.
1960s?
Yep, that was the time when we were doing a lot of picnicking in Chinella Park. My mom thought we would have to go to picnics, and I didn't know that it was just a picnic, but really, because that's when I remember Cutes rolling down the hill and running to the bench and knock all the teeth out.
Okay, hold on.
I remember that.
Hold on to that story. I'm going to keep you on the timeline right quick.
Okay. I remember that.
All right, so we got where you know your name, where you born and raised. Can you tell us the schools that you went to?
I went to Hyde Park preschool and then 54th Street School Elementary.
And at 54th Street Elementary, do you remember what gangs were in that area, or was it a gang presence in that area, or you was just a little kid just going to school back then?
Well, it wasn't called gangs, it was just like, you just grew up over there, and then it became where the Crips came out, you know. We used to let's say that word, you know, it was different. You used to spell it with a C, or you did so slash, Korea, like the Blue Jays, they whistle.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
So what junior highs and high schools did you go to?
Started off at 54th Street School Elementary, the Horseman, Webster, Palms, in Audubon, Crenshaw.
Okay, I want to focus in on Horseman. Was it a West Side Crip presence? What presence was that Horseman during your time going in?
Well, when I was at Horseman, I got there, it was, I say 74, into 74, beginning of 75.
Okay.
Right out of elementary. And it was really, really like, it was physical. It was a time where it was rough. You know what I mean? By me being the youngest of my family, man, Horseman, you know, I remember the cadets and all that kind of stuff, you know,
Right.
and stuff like that, because I had two brothers who was going to school there. My brother, he was going there, and I was the youngest. And man, Horseman was something else. Horseman was really, really rough, and it was going down at Horseman.
74, 75, that's the original West Side Crip days, right? That's before the 60s and everything had officially formed and got strong.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna ask you now. I'm gonna go back to, did you play any sports growing up?
I played football and basketball.
Football, basketball?
Yeah.
For schools or for parks? Or?
I played at Van Ness Park, Little Park, Inglewood Pop Warner, Dare Park.
Okay. What music did you listen to back then? You and the rest of the G's in your age bracket.
Man, we was, you know, Jackson 5 started off, you know. It had the Osmond Brothers and all the things, because I'm a baby of 5. So my sister then bought all the albums and all that, so I listened to what the normal kids would listen to in that age. Back then, it was just all soul music, you know.
Okay, so who was the best fighters that you can remember coming up in the rolling 60s? Those guys at the corner, people got off their way.
Well, when I was coming up, people was doing karate.
Okay.
I had to get, you know, and me, we used to go to Steve Sanders, but it was a dude named, Wilbur Cummings. You know, I don't know if a lot of people remember him, but Wilbur, he was the karate man. And then we had a lot of people around there, because we had Johnny, a dude named lived on West Boulevard, named Johnny. He used to do karate. You know, my brother was into that. We all got into it, and it was BFK, Black Karate Federation. Right there on Crenshaw, where Magnificent Brothers is. That was Steve Sanders.
You used to go up in there?
Yep.
Okay.
And then across the street with Jim Kelly's. And we used to go, and we used to, my friend Dorian, you know, see, it's the story with me is like this. When we was coming up, it wasn't no shooting, it was just fighting and like that. You was catching number 5 bus and go watch Bruce Lee downtown, you know, and that karate stuff like that. But, you know, people fighting like that, only people I knew up that way on my side where I was lived at the age was, you know, you had Wilbur Cummings, and it was like Michael and Mitchell twins, Brumleys, and different people. It was like more the people you grew up with. Was all your friends. Well, there wasn't no fighting. And if there was fighting, you had people. The only people I knew was like my brother, then Greg McGurmy, was Carlos Morgan. If anybody remember a guy named Carlos Morgan, he used to go to 54. He was the king of the school when I was there. And he used to go with Marla Carey, light-skinned dude. He's up on 10th Avenue and 60th. And his uncle was Fred Morrison on Land of the Giants.
Land of the Giants?
Yep.
Fred Morrison.
Yep, it's a black, the only black man on that show. And that was my friend Carlos. And then Philip Ricks ended up being, he grew up in our neighborhood. Him and Philip had a fight. And he became the king of the school, you know, the king of the school thing like that. But you didn't see a lot of fights. People didn't fight each other like that. It was just families. You know what I'm saying? If you got into it with somebody, you know, you went and got your family. It wasn't no gangs.
Right.
So, but everybody knew each other.
Right.
But Carlos Morgan was a person that was I could say my best friend. You know what I'm saying? And that's who I used to hang around. I didn't hang with my brothers and nothing like that. I hung with my friend. It was Carlos. Then after that, it was Dorian and Derrick, Conrad Carey, Perry Williams. We had our own little thing up there on that side. We just had it was a lot of Kevin White, Kenneth White. And some other names I could say. I can't remember everything because I'm kind of nervous because I ain't never sit down like this in an interview. But for real, man, it was a few people up that way that our friends was more like this. My house was like the house to be at because everybody came over there. But me personally, I believe in going with my friend Dorian in my house. I was living with them, and that was on Harcourt, right off of Slauson. By Buddha Market, Joe Juicy Burger. I lived with Dorian and them and played football because, I was into sports and stuff like that. And being with them, it was Mr. Graham, it was Conrad Carey's father, Mr. Carey, it was Kevin White, Mr. White. Those are the men in my neighborhood who kind of like helped me become, because I needed structure, man. I didn't, I was a little kid and I wanted to play football. And I rode bikes and shit like that, the dirt bikes and all that. So I was always outside, because at my house, there's a lot of shit going on in the house, and I didn't want to be in there, so I was always outside. You know what I mean? I was one of the ones that didn't have to go in the house when the lights went off.
Now,
You know what I mean?
You said the BKF, the Black Karate Federation.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see any other well-known G's in there taking classes at that time?
Back then,
or that would later on become well-known G's? You might as well just.
Well, at that time, a lot of people, like I knew Roderick and his brother, they was played football with England, Pop Warner. They also did karate there. But Dorian and Derrick, their mother really put them into a lot of this little stuff like that, and I went with them. So we was up there, and we used to do stuff in our backyard. But I always left because I wanted a father. I didn't have a father figure. So I hung around kids that had fathers because I was bad, man. You know what I mean? I was serious. I was bad. So that what kept me grounded. Like, so I did things with them. I didn't stay in my house a lot because it was nothing there for me. Because my brother, I couldn't hang with him because his friends, they did other things until a certain age. But I was with my friends. We did everything in the neighborhood. We was the ones on the bicycles riding around out there in the streets. You know what I mean? Really, really, really out there all night long. Didn't have to go in the house or nothing. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to have to go in the house because in the house it was madness for me. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now you said in your house, I heard from a couple of G's that they would see Odie Shaw
My sister.
around your house.
Yep. All the
Tell
time.
us something about Odie Shaw, your relationship, with him, and tell us a few stories about him because
Man,
he's
Odie.
well known and well loved in this area.
Odie used to come over and it was more like my sister Googie. It was like a whole. That's where everything happened on Chesley Avenue. When I was on Slauson. Where my life started was, it was, Niecy and Merlin and Charlesetta and Cynthia, my sister Googie, Sharon, Charlene. You had Aver and all her sisters, Carolyn and man, it was just that whole block. So that's where we take on Chesley was where everything happened when I was a kid until we moved on 58, which was right around the corner. On Chesley, yeah. We used to go on Chesley. We played. That's where the hide and go see, and everything was done on Chesley. You know what I mean? When we grew up, you went on Chesley. Everything was done right there, and we ventured off from there out through the neighborhood. Whatever happens, with your little friends and stuff like that, going down to the park, Van Ness Park, or Ladera Park, or St. Little Park. Ride your bike. Until Zodi's up on the hill, till the mall came, all that stuff like that. We started off on Chesley. From there, we branched out and did whatever you was gonna do. We started on Chesley. Yeah.
All those women you just named off Chesley, are some of those the OG six legs?
Man, they didn't have that name. They was Magnificent Sevens, basically. And
wait. The women you just named were Magnificent Sevens.
Yeah.
Isn't that OG Cutes?
You would say, I don't know, because my sister, everything my sister, I look at them. So that's what I learned through them. You know what I mean? And all the dudes came to my house. You know,
The Magnificent Seven came to your house?
man, everybody came to my house.
What members from the Magnificent Seven came to your house?
You say, I remember Mouse, Chucky Madison, Cutes, Rusty used to come over there, but I know how things changed. But, you know, I tell you this there, Squally Davis, Odie Shaw, Cutes, Mouse, Rusty, Chucky Madison, Perry Mack, you know, just the people that I grew up with, man, like, I mean, hey, man, keeping it real, the people that I grew up with, you know, it's like, they like my family. I don't consider them friends, because I didn't know what homeboy meant back then. It didn't have that word. You know what I'm saying?
People you just named are some legendary people to come out of Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to focus in on the Magnificent Seven because they were such a small gang.
Man.
But people still speak about them to this day.
Hey, watch this. They used to come around. I remember, this is how I remember it. They used to be having Levi's and the Levi jacket and the Levi pants. It had the little rhinestones on it with their names on the back and all that with the big natros. It was like black power was like power, black power. But women, it was man, no disrespect to men because I'm a man now, but women was putting in work, bro. Because it was like, you want no problem with the girl, because the girls were, man, look, for real, it was a lot of girls that could probably whoop a lot of dudes. You know what I mean? But you respected the women because they was pushing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a founder of, like, mothers, you respected women. Black dudes, you respected women. We didn't, and then your friends, you didn't fight like that, but you did. But the women was carrying everything, man, for real. The women was the backbone of everything. And the dudes around, you had a lot of stand-up dudes, but I say to my place because it was a Beckett. You didn't have big homie, little homie, your little dudes. I couldn't hang around certain people because they was older than me. So you hung around people that was your age, and it was no different. So wherever you hung around with, that's what you did. You didn't look up to the older people because you was told to stay in your place. You know, you had to, you know, work your way through life as the people that you grew up with, your age bracket. You didn't get to hang out with dudes 2 or 3 years older than you.
So the women out of this neighborhood were the real deal.
Real deal.
Okay.
Real deal.
All right, now. I want to ask you a personal question about Odie Shaw.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to Triple OG sis, and she told me that Odie Shaw had a voice like an angel. He could sing. Do you know anything about that?
You know, watch this, man. All due respect to growing up at that era, that you didn't get in people's bed. Like when my sister's boyfriend came over, I didn't go in there and do nothing. You know what I'm saying? You don't go,
right.
you
Right.
mind your business. You do what you just, that was just what it was. But, you know, his presence, when he came over our house, listen, too many people couldn't come in my mama's house and spend the night and be over there, period. And Odie was the one, my sister, she was the first one, Googie was the first one to have a baby. So, Odie, my mother must have felt really something about him to be able to come to my house and be able to spend the night and be there and live in our house and be in our house like, you know, you got a girlfriend, you just couldn't go. Back then, you couldn't just go to people's house and be in their house like that. It wasn't happening. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you did, it was kept to yourself. It was outside or whatever. But to come over, to come in and door closed and you there until the morning, it's rare. It's rare. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Odie had the keys. He was in the house, and that's my big homie. And everything that he brought to my life was, it was real. It was like a different kind of something. But I was young, man, and I didn't. And tell the truth, man, I didn't get in my sister's business or his business. I didn't look to see what they was doing and what they wasn't doing. But it was, I guess it was all good though. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was all good.
Okay. So, back in your day when you was running the streets the toughest, who were the 60s biggest opposition back then, in your opinion? Who did you have your most run-ins with, or who did you hear about?
H-Ray Gangsters, the Hoovers, Inglewood family, Donald Ray. See, Donald Ray, that name, because he came to my house and he did something that it forever will be in my brain. He came over my house and he shot our house up because my sister had, you know, all the Crips came to my house, you know what I'm saying? You know, from, like, we lived across what they call across Crenshaw.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So when he came across Crenshaw, it came over there, it was our house most of the dudes coming to, because that's where all the girls were gathering at, because I had a lot of sisters and a lot of cousins. My whole generation of family members grew up in this neighborhood, and we've been here all our life. But and the ones who started this, you know, the neighborhood, what I know now, and they got everything popping, it all came through my house with the dudes that came to see my sister and my cousins and all what we call my homegirls. But I don't, my homegirls are really my sisters, because they raised me. Right. You know what I'm saying? And those people are still to this day. Man, if it wasn't for them, man, it wouldn't be no, because no man didn't show me nothing, for real, but except the ones who taught me football and leave, you know, it was women. Right. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that, because they was doing what they had to do back then.
Right. Now, when you say across Crenshaw, are you talking about the Overhill? Or?
That's what it was. Me and her, we were really tight. She raised me to the point where, man, it's hard, man. But in the streets, it was like this. If I got into something, I didn't go get my brother. I went got my sister.
And you got your sister?
I went got my sister.
So she was the down sister?
Man, I'm serious, bring the business. You
What's
know,
her name?
Her name is Cecilia, but they call her Googie.
Googie, okay.
Mm-hmm. And like they say, man, it takes a village to raise a child, man. And when I grew up, man, I was raised by a bunch of girls. A bunch of girls, and believe it or not, the girls were the ones going to give you. They would give me the things that I want, like money and anything that I really wanted, because that's who looked out for me, and it was a bunch of them. Right. You know, up on Chesley, you know.